Hello, everybody, and welcome. You're watching DC Fanverse. Thank you guys for joining me. Right, guys, so Brother Eye, it is happening. It is, sorry to say, it's Brother Eye recalibration that's happening, and it's here. So let's basically take a look at what's going on. Far as reads, I had a quick look through. Good news is all the characters are not, keyword, not being nerfed. None of it, no one is being nerfed. So whatever characters you have, you are safe to keep them. You don't have to worry about it being irrelevant. Now, saying that, quite a few characters are coming up with some decent buffs. They are definitely going to become somewhat relevant, if not very. So let's take a look at them one by one and see what they are getting. Now, as I would advise, grab your phone, tablet, whatever you play your game on, and we can do a side-by-side comparison to see the changes that are taking place. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to get your devices ready, and then we can read through this together and see what the changes are. So if you're ready, let's do this. So basically saying the calibration is taking place, planned to release 7th of October. This is the second recalibration. The first one took place just prior to the worldwide launch, and this time it is going to be now the second one. For this recalibration, they're going to be focusing on rebalancing the characters that have not been as useful as we hoped, revamping a few team synergies. A few characters have full ability reworks, but most of them have a small adjustment done to have big impacts, along with a ton of tags changed, mechanic changed for lifesteal, and a little change to the boss step and move. So we've got quite a few changes happening. We get some update on step and wolf. Lifesteal is a major change going on with it. A lot of tags change on characters, along with big adjustments and small adjustment done throughout the characters. So one of the characters we've already seen is Mira. Mira's changes has already been put into the game prior to the launch of Aquaman, so that way she and him could work together effectively. So if we have a look at Mira, we know her trait got changed from agile to tactical. This allows her to be a better counter crit, as most of the crit characters are mighty. So this made sense why they did that. They also gave her frostbite on her ultimate and gave her additional stacks of frostbite she adds at level 2 and so on. Advanced ability, they gave her extra stack of frostbite on her dolphins. Level 2 adds more frostbites. Level 3 more frostbites as well, and the other stats still remain the same. So basically everything you see in the yellowy color are the changes that are taking place. So that was what Mirror already had happened, had changes. Now let's look at the changes that are coming. Lifesteal. Lifesteal will be changing completely. Previously, lifesteal was treated differently than healing and would not be increased by having heal bonuses and would not be reduced by heal reductions. Lifesteal is now considered as healing. So, if I'm correct on thinking, example would be Constantine. He has lifesteal, I think. Yep. So, he has a lifesteal on his description. In his ultimate, 10% lifesteal he takes. Now, with lifesteal, that's not considered as healing, so that does not work with Aquaman, I believe. There was, I can't remember what was, there was a little thing about him with the sacrifice team. Was it with Dr. Fate? Anywho, so lifesteal is now going to be considered as healing. It will work with Kid Flash's team synergy, heal crits, Starfire's heal collection, and Martian Manhunter's ultimate. Lifesteal will also be reduced by decreased healing from Bat Cycle, poison reduction, and will no longer heal when countered by Poison Ivy's team synergy. Characters like Zatanna and Two-Face can add lifesteal to allies, and many others have lifesteal built into their ability, including the newly reworked Weasel. So lifesteal will be considered as healing. It would not be something separate. So that's good. Works with the teams. Right. Next is hard hit. Riddle me this, Batman. How hard a hit could hard hit if hard hit could hit a bit harder? Oh my days, what a tongue twist. Let's say that again. How hard a hit could hard hit if hard hit could hit a bit harder? The answer is twice as much. Hard hit now increases damage given from the next non-ultimate attack by 20% per stack instead of 10. So that's a nice little buff there. Instead of 10, we've got 20% attack per stack of hard hit. Right, if you are still stuck on the riddle, good luck. Right guys, so let's move on. We want to Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is stage 3 boss battle in League Challenge. His unique ability Cross Cleave will instantly defeat an opponent. Previously his Cross Cleave skill would bypass invulnerability shield like from Cyborg's ultimate or the Screwdriver helmet, as well as death protection skills held by characters such as Superman and Superman DCU. Steppenwolf's Cross Cleave will no longer bypass invulnerability. Yes, now that's a very good update, because now my Superman will not fall in the first round, as every time he hits hard, he is targeted and then he is no longer in the match. So I had to stop using ultimate and make others do hard hits so they get targeted, but no longer. This offers some strong counterplay options against Steppenwolf. Of course it does. So that's a good changes coming to Steppenwolf. Right guys, so the next part will be the character changes. So we've just saw in-game changes. What we're getting lifesteal being changed into healing. We've got hard hit now going from basic 10% to 20%, and Steppenwolf getting a good change as well. Next come the bits and pieces for characters. So let's go on and find the bride. Now unfortunately I don't have her, so it's difficult to say. There she is. Right, so the bride legendary passive Undying. So let's see, legendary passive Undying. Okay, so currently her legendary passive Undying has a 5% of max HP and a 50% of additional crit rate, along with a 10% lifesteal. In her changes, she will jump from 5% to 80% max HP. So when the bride receives a fatal attack, she will receive 80% of her max HP. Her crit rate increases by 50% for the rest of the battle. So her crit rate was for basic skill, and it triggered once per battle. 50% will be rest of the battle, and she instantly performs her basic attack. Okay, this attack has 100% lifesteal, which was initially 10%, now it's 100. And then Undying can only be triggered once per battle, which is still the same. So 5% to 80% crit rate goes up to 50% for the rest of the battle, and lifesteal goes up from 10 to 100%. Good changes for her. She might become viable. Right, her badge 2 and level 3 updates. So her badge 2, level 2 is getting Undying bonus crit rate increases to 100% for the rest of the battle. Unfortunately I don't have her, so I can't check what was her previous, but it will increases to 100%. And when triggered on level 3, the bride gains 20% damage reduction for the rest of the battle. That's good. Right, the bride stat growth. So basically, defense stats will be leveled up and will have an increase of 4%, and her attack stats gained from leveling will have an increased by 12%. So that's her basic stats just going up and what it was. So that was the bride. Now Dr. Phosphorus, let's find him. Dr. Phosphorus, there he is. He's the burn and his sacrifice. Yeah, okay, so Dr. Phosphorus gets passive ability burning skin. Is level 1. Dr. Phosphorus has 50% power, superpower reduction, but takes 15% additional damage from physical damage. Reflex is increased by 20%. So his initially was just reflect is increased by 20% at level 1, according to what I see on the screen. Level 2, enemies now inflicted with 1 stack of burn when Dr. Phosphorus is attacked. That's level 2 with no change. Level 3, no change. So level 1, it takes reduced damage from superpower, and additional damage is increased from physical damage. Okay. His passive ability, heat immunity, is level 1, is unchanged, or not unchanged. At the start of his turn, Dr. Phosphorus heals himself for 1% of his max HP for each stack of burn he has, with a maximum of 5% per turn. So basically, Dr. Phosphorus cannot detonate from his burn and can accumulate a maximum stack of 99 stacks. And each turn, he can heal 1% of his max HP for each stack of burn he has, with a maximum of 5%. At level 2, the maximum per turn increases to 10%, and level 3 increases to 15%. Which means at level 3, 15 stacks mean 15% heal. Interesting, you might be able to use him as some sort of tank. Right, what else? Basic ability, Fusion Fire. Dr. Phosphorus sacrifices 5% of his current health, current HP to attack an enemy, dealing 100% of his attack as superpower damage. Dr. Phosphorus also inflicts 1 stack of burn on an enemy and 2 stacks of burn on himself. Okay, so that's immediately you're looking at sacrifice 5% of his health to attack an enemy, dealing 100% of his attack as superpower damage. But if it has level 2, but burning 5%, he'll get 2 stacks. So by the end of the turn, he will get that 2% of heal back. If you're at level 3, 4%. So your 4 stacks, meaning 4% of max HP, would be healing himself, and 5% of his current HP So in proportion, sacrifice a little bit, get more back at the beginning of the battle. As you get more closer to the end, gain more from losing less, basically. 2 stacks on himself, 2 stack of on burn on enemy, and 4 stacks on himself. That's an interesting one. So if you look at his burning skin ability up here, every time they attack him, they get 1 stack of burn on enemies. Okay, this character, he heals himself, burns others. He's quite a chaotic character. Anywho, his ultimate ability, go nuclear. Level 1, no change, deals 100% of attack as superpower damage to all enemies and 5% of attack as superpower damage to all allies. It still does damage to his allies. Allies cannot be defeated by this attack and will survive with 1 HP. Enemies take an additional 20% damage. So that was 10% before. Now 20% damage for each stack of burn Dr. Phosphorus has on him. Okay. An additional 10% increase to 30% at level 3. So 30% damage increase for every stack of burn on Dr. Phosphorus. And it can stack up to 99. Right, so that's Dr. Phosphorus's abilities. His stats also, basic HP is going to get increased by 19%, and his stats gained from leveling will be increased by 27%. So yep, that is Miss Dr. Phosphorus. Interesting character to have. He's probably the only one that damages allies in the game, which is quite, I don't know, but it's good. Oh, we're not even halfway yet, and we've still got a lot to go. Right, the Weasel is up next. Weasel has received some serious updates. Not only are several skills being brought up to power, he's also getting a complete rework to his badge and team synergy. Previously, other than the general stat bonuses that all team synergy provides, Weasel's synergy exclusively granted bonus to Weasel. Additionally, it didn't counter any other team camp. Generally speaking, we want the team synergy to be a fun space to build a team around and not focusing solely on a single character. Now, his reworked team synergy more directly counters shield and dispels buff. His old team synergy was fun and gross, and we didn't want to totally lose that flavor. Also gross. So we've moved his old team synergy functionality into his badges. You don't have to worry, the Weasel still can be your buddy. Team synergy, the Weasel. Before we go forward, let's find him. There we go. Team synergy. All allies gain 25 shield penetration. Ally basic attack dispels one stack of random buff from the target. See, he might be a good character to have against a shield team and in a burn team as well. Not burn team, sorry, a bleed team. Because he's also a bleed character, isn't it? He also damages allies. Okay, hold on, let's read on. Level 2, no changes. Level 3, shield penetration increased to 75%. All attack against an enemy with shield will have 100% crit chance. So yep, put up your shields, no problem, 100% crit chance, and penetration is increased to 75%. Team Weasel for the go. Right, his badges. At the start of the battle, the front row ally with the highest XP becomes Weasel's buddy. Weasel can only deal 1 HP of damage to his buddy and will also target them with just a nibble. Anytime his buddy is damaged with any attack, Weasel gains 1 stack of hard hit. So Weasel has hard hit. And what did we read up top about hard hit? It will go from 10% to 20%. So Weasel's hard hit will get 20%. So if you have a tank that is his buddy up front, every hit will get a stack of hard hit, 20% increase. It's good. Weasel eats up to 2 types of debuff when he nibbles his buddy. For each debuff type he eats, Weasel and his buddy are healed for 5% of their max HP. That's level 2. And badge level 3, damages to enemies from just a nibble increases to 200%, and Weasel will always nibble an enemy after nibbling an ally. Okay, the idea of nibbling is like, I don't know. So Weasel's I don't have him, so I can't really say how he works, but on paper it sounds quite chaotic. But let's see. Right, what else we got? Ultimate ability, Blood Frenzy. Cost 3. So I'm assuming it either cost 2 or cost 4 before. Now it costs 3. I'm not sure. But now it does only cost 3. Level 1. Charges at the enemy team attacking random 5 targets, each dealing 100% of attack as physical damage. Level 2, no changes, attacks 6 times. Level 3, no change, attacks 7 times. So it's still the same, it's just the cost itself that has changed. Passive ability, Tooth and Nail. All of Weasel's attacks apply 1 stack of bleed to enemies for 2 turns. Previously it was once his health drops below 80%. Level 2, when below 60% HP, all of Weasel's attack apply an additional stack of bleed for 2 turns. This was 1 turn before, now 2 turns. And level 3, when at or below 50% of HP, all of Weasel attacks have 50% lifesteal. Previously it was 1 turn and no, previously, sorry, it was 40%, below 40% and 2 turns. Now it's 50% and has a 50% lifesteal. And the advanced ability, Just a Nibble, now has 1 turn initial cool. Right. So that was Weasel. Mr. Terrific is getting a buff. Oh, let's read. Mr. Terrific. Oh, hold on. He's not getting nothing because I don't see no yellow. So Mr. Terrific wears his motto on his jacket proudly. Fair play. With his ultimate ability turnaround, he wanted to make sure that sense of fair play comes through in gameplay. His ultimate turnaround works by copying debuffs from your team and applying them to the opposite positions of the enemy team. However, if there is no corresponding opponents in the opposite position, like if enemies were defeated or if you were fighting an evil ball boss, then the duplicate debuffs could not go nowhere. Now, if there is no enemy in a valid slot, it will apply the debuffs to a random enemy. Yes. I did not realize this. I did not realize that Mr. Terrific's ability is corresponding to the character to his opposite. Basically, from the character you're taking the debuffs from, and copying it over. I always want to wonder why some works and some doesn't. That is why. Now it makes sense. So it will take all the debuffs that you have and give it randomly to someone else that is still alive in the opposite team. Brilliant. Right, Green Lantern Guy of DCUO, another character I do not have. Let's find him. Where is he? No, he's not legendary. He is epic. Right, you Mr. Bowlcut. There we go. So, Guy is getting a small nudge when an enemy does not have the interference debuff. His ultimate will now target the enemy with the lowest HP. So he's pretty much everything's still the same, only his level 1, which was in level 1 lowest HP. Okay, so basically his level 1 conjures a giant shoe to initially squash an enemy like a bug, daily superpower damage equal to 300% of his attack to the enemy with the lowest HP. So basically the additional part is to the enemy with the lowest HP. Before it was anyone or opposite character, and then if of course the target had more than 50% HP, Guy deals a critical hit. That is still there, but now he'll be targeting specifically the lowest HP character on the opposite team. So that is a nice little change, which means he'll be like, that's it. What? There's a mirror who has a similar ability where she targets the lowest health. So That was Sky. Green Lantern John Stewart. John Stewart has been on our rework for a long time. He never felt like he was defensive enough to be a tank. Neither did he feel offensive enough to deal damage. Additionally, he adds random debuffs with his basic and counter attack. It never felt like he attacked often enough to work well for his debuff team either. So yeah, I found John Stewart to be completely useless. I did not like him. Right. Again, another character I do not have. Where is he? Alright, John Stewart and Epic. Where is he? He's an Epic. Right, so his ultimate creates a shield equal to 50% of his max HP. That's the additional part. Then constructs a sniper rifle and sets up for 2 turns. While readying his strike, he gains 30% damage reduction, and 30% of the damage will be taken and absorbed into the rifle. Okay, so that part is still the same, but his shield, he gets a new shield basically, and that shield is equal to his 50% of his max HP. So that's a decent additional to have, and any hits of course it takes goes into his rifle, which he uses to hit you back. And after 2 turns, attacks the enemy with the lowest HP, which is just the additional part, the lowest HP, dealing superpower damage equal to 300% of the amount absorbed. Previously it was 200, now increased up to 300. Level 2, each stack of weakness insight adds 15% damage to the sniping shot. The shield now increased to 75% of his max HP. When damaging the enemy, apply 1 stack of exhaustion. So that's the new part. And level 3 is still the same. His passive, where's what? Weakness insight. During battle, increase max HP by 10%. When attacked, gain 1 stack of weakness insight. So previously it had a chance to permanently gain 1 stack of weakness insight. Now it just grants you it regardless, so not a chance, it is guaranteed. Damage reduction of weakness insight increases to 4%, and level 3 it is 0. Previously it was 3% on the damage on level 2, now it's 4%. Right, next being passive bullet shower. Level 1 has a 40% chance to counterattack the damage dealer when anyone on his team is attacked. Previously it was the damage dealer when attacked, now it's anyone of his team that is attacked, dealing superpower damage equal to 70% of his attack stats and inflicting 1 stack of random debuff, weaken, slow, armor break for 2 turns. Then the next part is all additional new buffs. While aiming with the sniper, the counter gains 70% lifesteal. Previously it was if by chance the counterattack happened, it will be a 70% lifesteal. Now, while he's aiming down, he will get that. Additionally, he will always counterattack when he is hit by an enemy. And level 2, level 3 unchanged, still the same. Right, his badge at the only level 1 has been changed. At the start of the battle, all Green Lanterns gain 1 stack of weakness insight for each Green Lantern ally. Oh, I was thinking of having a Green Lantern team just for the fun of it. So we have a stack of weakness. Now, without having him on my team, I do not know what that means. A stack of weakness. I can't even see what it is. What does it mean? But we'll see. That was John Stewart, Green Lantern. And here comes Jessica Cruz. Right, so Jessica Cruz. She is one of the most underdogs of the game. Really handy to have her. She was great help in the early part of the games. My main character, to be honest. So now, what does she do? Jessica Cruz has always been on the cusp of greatness, but a few drawbacks made her opt as not as useful or powerful enough to see the limelight as some others. She has a fun little minigame where she can build up stacks of power of fate whenever allies gain a shield, then use these stacks to deal more damage. Her badge increases the maximum amount of stacks of power of faith and enables her to retain half the stack if she has enough. However, this minigame did not have enough payoff to make it truly feel worthwhile. Now, a fully maxed Jessica Cruz can utilize her minigames so she can fire off multiple ultimates back to back. Okay, passive ability, power of fate. Where is my Jessica? There we go. Jessica. Okay, let me go to my characters so I could see a detailed info on her, and I could rank her up. Excellent, but I'll do that after. Focus. Right, so level 1 of her passive ability, power of fate. No changes there, except when she has at least 10 stacks of when she has at least 10 stacks, her ultimate will cost 1 less ultimate point. So what does that mean? My basic skill says that increases attack power by 15% when any ally gains a shield. The next damage dealt by herself increases by 2% of attack power. This effect is stackable up to 10 times. Stacks are cleared after attacking. So if she has 10 stacks, her ultimate will cost 1 less point. Okay. That's on level 1. Level 2, no change. When the number of stacks reaches 3 or more, the next damage dealt ignores 35% of enemy's defense. Level 3, when the number of stacks reaches 8 or more, crit rate of the next damage dealt increases by 100%. Okay, that's still no change there. But her badges get a massive change. Well, not massive, just one. Level 1 additionally adds 2% to the increase of attack by each stack. Still the same. Level 2 increases attack power by additional 10%, add 2 additional stacks of passive when she gains a shield. Still the same. Level 3 increases the maximum stacks to 20. If there are 8 or more stacks, half of the stacks will be retained after attacking. Retained after attacking. So 20 stacks now on level 3 on her badge. You know what? I need to bring her back into circulation on my main team. I could do with a character that has a good shield. I might even drop Lex Luthor and just give her that spot. She'll do better. Right. Ultimate ability. Light of Courage. Right. So level 1, no change. Grants all allies a shield that can absorb damage equal to 40% of attack for 2 turns and deals 1 enhanced basic attack immediately, projecting a war axe to attack all enemies. Level 2, no change. Enhanced basic attack will ignore 50% of enemies' defense. Level 3, shield damage absorption increases to 50%. Jessica Cruz's ultimate no longer has a cooldown. I'm assuming previously there was a cooldown. Now there is not. So she has no longer any cooldowns for Light of Courage at level 3. Stacks maximum of 20 on badge 3 and Fatal Power, Power of Fate, Possibility gives her 1 less point usage for ultimate. So overall, nice little change. Starfire, one of my characters for my burn team, and I see a lot of yellow, which means a lot of changes. So where is my Starfire? There she is. Skills. Okay, so Starfire has a unique passive ability where she deals extra damage and armor break to enemies in the front row. However, once the front row was defeated, she didn't have much to offer her team. We wanted to give her something contextual and spicy. Additionally, we wanted to make one of her passive more thematic and have a stronger, more consistent benefit. So her passive ability, Royal Flames. Royal Flame. Is that a new name? Because I'm looking at her passive at the moment. She hasn't got a passive called Royal Flame. She has Starshine and Black Fire. So I'm assuming Black Fire will become Royal Flame. Devs, you might have to correct that and have a look at that. Currently it's called Blackfire. Let me see if it's still the same. Skill wise, no changes. Level 1, when dealing damage, adds 1 stack of burn for every 2 enemies detonated, gain 1 energy. So yeah, so this actually is called Blackfire, not Royal Flame. So either that has to be in yellow to say it's a change, or change this to the correct name. Level 2, no changes. When dealing damage, if the target is not inflicted with burn, add 2 stacks of burn instead. Very good. Level 3, now gains energy from every enemy detonated. Previously it was when triggering and gaining energy has a 50% of chance to additionally gain an enemy. Okay, so previously it was 50% chance, now you will gain if the enemy is detonated. So that's Blackfire, aka Royal Flame. Passive ability Starshine. This has the most change. When attacking an enemy in the front line, increase damage by 10% and add 1 stack of armor break for 2 turns. That's what was his basic. Now, when attacking an enemy in back row, increase crit chance by 30% and add 1 stack of weaken for 2 turns. Okay. Lish making use of ability of the back row. Level 2, at the start of her turn, if there are front row enemies standing, gain 4 stacks of haste for 1 turn. If there is no front row enemies standing, reduce ultimate cost by 1 point. Okay. Before it was just damage increase by 13% and that's it. I'm assuming they just removed that and put that. And then level 3, damage increases by 20%, crit chance increased by 50%. So the level 2 damage increase by 13% has been removed and replaced with the front row enemies standing gain 4 stacks of haste 1 turn, and if no front row enemies, reduce ultimate cost by 1. And of course the 10% damage increase you get on level 1, this now at level 3 gets increased to 20% where previously was 16, and your crit chance increased to 50%. So those are the changes for Starfire. How many more? Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oof. Quite a few to go. So let's carry on, guys. We've got quite a big amount of changes happening. Right, so next one is Bizarro. Miam love Bizarro strength. Him not cool character, and pretty flowers make him live too long. Flame breath already burn enemy without badge. Okay, I can keep this up. Let's try again. Okay, Bizarro is a fun character, but due to his damage sharing ability, Pretty Flower, he often tends to die a little too fast. Also, is a little weird how his flame breath doesn't add burn until you invest in his badge. We've addressed these issues by adding some burn at base level. Just what I needed. Increasing his healing, and by giving Bizarro a new powerful aspect to his flower. Don't worry, we're only adding his flower healing to the player version of Bizarro. Enemy NCP enemies do not have his new level 2 addition. Okay. So what's his level 2? So that's assuming this. When an ally holding the flower is defeated, Bizarro heals to full HP. So that is only for us. The NCP will not get that buff. Anyway, so where were we? Advanced ability, Flame Breath, level 1. Still the same. Just now adds 1 stack of burn. Level 2 goes unchanged. Level 3 goes unchanged. So level 1 is freeze, Flame Breath, 1 stack of burn. That's the buff it's getting. And what's this? In fact, I've got Bizarro, so let's go and find him. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Here you are. So, advance Flame Breath. Okay, level 1, level 2, level 3. So what's this then? What's this level 1? I'm assuming they forgot to put. Okay, so this level 1, this selection here is his passive ability, Pretty Flower. They forgot to put that in the notes. Okay, so level 1, no changes, increases max HP by 10%. As it reads, it's at the end, start of the battle, blah blah blah. So level 1, no changes. Level 2, when the turn of the ally holding the flower ends, Bizarro and ally heal themselves 5% of their own max HP. So it used to be 3%, now it's 5%. And when an ally holding the flower is defeated, Bizarro heals to full HP. So that's the additional part. Level 2. Level 3, healed amount increases to 10% of respective max HP. So that's basically okay. So I'm not sure that's still the same, I suppose. No, it used to be 5%. Now it's 10% on level 3. So guys, that's Bizarro. He's getting a burn stack built into his ability, and he's getting an increase in his level 2 of his Pretty Flower passive ability, and so on. Wow, my throat is going, guys. I'm speaking too much. Right, guys, next we have Vixen. Let's check her out. She is a viable character for the block team. Let's see what changes she's getting. Right, so Vixen. In order to talk about our Vixen changes, we first need to talk about badge bonus stats. Badges are broken up into 4 stats that are, with 2 stats being major increases and 2 being minor increases. The 2 major stats are always HP bonus, attack bonus, or defense bonus. The minor bonuses are much smaller numbers, but the exact total varies depending on the stats being increased. Notice how on characters with crit damage and block amount, the value is typically much higher compared to other stats like speed or damage reduction. Typically, tanks have HP bonus and defense bonus as their majors, with gap filling stats as their minors. Vixen was our first attempt to make a tank who could also situationally be a great damage dealer. However, by not giving her the standard tank major stats in her badge, she ended up not really fulfilling either role very well. These change adjust her major stats to that of a typical tank. However, we're replacing her minor reflect stats, which maxed out at 9.7%, with an attack bonus that maxes out at 32.4%. This should help her fulfill her core role as tank, but also give her the flexibility to deal awesome damage. Vixen is a hero who is highly adaptable and who can be an aggressive warrior to her enemies or a defensive wall to her allies. We want to honor her personally by keeping her flexible. That is brilliant. That is actually a major help. I found Vixen to be quite poor in the block team, even in the low levels, like Ocean Master and whatnot. Even at the low level, they were quite good. She, on the other hand, did not make any difference to my team whatsoever. But now, she may just make the team viable. So her badge bonus stats at level 30. Major 1, health bonus 45%. Major 2, no change. Defense bonus 45%. Minor 1, no change, block 9.7%. Minor 2, attack bonus 32.4%. So her bonus, her badge is at level 30. Excuse me. Major changes. Right, moving on to her abilities. Ultimate ability, Rhino Charge. Vixen channels the power of Rhino and charges at the enemy team, dealing 450% of her attack power as physical damage in the front row and the middle enemy in the back row. The damage is shared across the 3 targeted enemies. Previously, it was 250%. Now, it will be 450%. Level 2 used to be 450. Now, it will be 600%. At level 3, 25% chance to inflict stun if the target is bleeding. That has gone unchanged. But her level 1 and 2, major changes. Vixen's HP stats gained from level has increased by 3%, and her defense stats gained from levels has increased by 15%. Vixen block bug fix. fixed an issue where in some scenarios the bonus block chance added by Pack Hunter would override all other block bonuses and reduce her block chance if you had a high block gear on her. So she was bugged. No wonder I felt her not to be viable. So that was Vixen, guys. She's getting some good buffs. Now let's go on to our next character, Constantine. He seems to be very powerful, so what have they changed? Alright, Constantine is a powerful AoE and a sacrifice hero. But how closely have you read his skill, Arcane Aid? To be honest, not really. It might not work like you think it does. Arcane Aid states at the start of an ally's turn, they lose 15% of the current HP. Notice that? Yep. And gain 1 stack. So, this is what we're talking about. So them losing the HP due to his ability, it doesn't count as sacrificed HP. It did not count as that. Now it does. Yes, he just became viable for the sacrifice team. Oh yes. Constantine will now be even stronger when paired with Mira and Aquaman. There we go. And now help even more against the evil four bosses. Deathstorm. Passive ability, Arcane Aid. Level 1, at the start of an ally's turn, they sacrifice 15% of the current HP and gain 1 stack of strong attack and 1 stack of recuperate for 2 turns. Right, just to remind myself, strong attack, increase attack by 9% and block breaker by 5%. Recuperate at the start of a turn, heals HP equal to 25% of attack. So that's kind of that makes him viable now. I'm kind of excited. I can't wait for this update. He will be a fantastic addition to the team. So if I look up my current sacrifice team, it sits as so I've got Aquaman, Mira, Fate, Pandora, and Wonder Woman, because I've got no other viable characters. Wonder Woman will be replaced with Constantine, then that team will be done. Brilliant. Right, next up is Kid Flash. Kid Flash is the strongest burst healing character in all of DC Worlds Collide. However, his team synergy has always been a little simple. Currently, it's just generally increases healing, and at max level, it adds a little more healing to each ally at the start of the turn. In this update, we are adding some new counterplay into his team synergy by making his counter team focused on burn and silence. Team synergy, Kid Flash, level 1 no change. During battle, all allies gain 14% healing received bonus. Level 2. Sorry, where's Kid Flash? There he is. Team Synergy. Right. Level 2. At the start of an ally's turn, cleanses all burn stacks. Oh! And heals 5% of the missing HP for each stack cleansed. During battle, all allies gain 20% healing received bonus and 30% bonus damage resistance. Level 3, at the start of each ally's turn, heals them 5% of the missing HP and cleanses silence from them. Oh my god. So if you got Kid Flash in your team, Burn Tip is almost useless. Ho 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 ho. Okay. Alright, so Kid Flash. Interesting. Okay, gotta try this. Gotta find a workaround to take down his team, or find his weakness and apply a team that's not burn. Okay, so moving on. Poison Ivy is getting a slight adjustment to her level 3 team synergy to help solidify her place as an anti-heal. Team synergy, level 1, no changes. Level 2, no changes. Level 3, when an enemy has 8 or more stacks of poison, they can no longer heal. I don't have her, so I'm assuming required more stacks to do it. Now it's less, so making that as a buff. So that would be Poison Ivy. Alright, I assume that's the last character by the looks of it. Ocean Master. Ocean Master has had a sneaky hidden bug with him for a while. His advanced ability was not appropriately applying block amount. With this now being fixed, allies with his Atlantean armor buff should now be taking less damage when they block an attack. Okay, so a bug fix for Ocean Master. Right, so that was all the characters that are getting a massive change. Now coming down to tags, tag changes. Some of these tags definitely needed to be changed. So looks like any character, we can have a maximum of 6 tags on them, but it's not quite enough. They're working on an improvement which will allow us to add as many tags as we need in the future. Okay. So they removed the superpower damage tag from DCUO Superman. Currently this tag isn't being utilized in our game modes, and deemed that a new additional tag additions were more useful to him in the future. We will add back this damage tag and more into characters archive. Okay, so tag addition: superpower damage reduction, Dr. Phosphorus, physical damage reduction, Superman DCU, Supergirl, Superboy, Haste, The Flash, Slow, Two-Face, Cleanse, Mr. Raven, Single Target Burst, Guy Gardner, Sacrifice the Bride, Invulnerable, Superman, DCU, Shield, Pandora, and Tag Removal, Superpower Damage, DCUO. Whew. So that's all there was about this changes. They do have a Discord where you can talk about all these changes and whatnot. If you haven't seen the